everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth on behalf of my co-host Estancia and everybody associated with this show, and there are a lot of people associated with this show. And for our guests, I'd like to just welcome you and thank you for coming. And this has been a really exciting week for us. We've been working on a demo film, because actually it's very interesting. There's a new age cable station forming that's like I guess an MTV or an ESPN, but with new age and spiritual stuff programmed 24 hours a day. And they've seen different shows of ours, and they're interested in perhaps working with us, and maybe Bridging Heaven and Earth will become nationwide. So we've been really excited working on a highlight film for that. And another thing I wanted to mention, I talked to Estancia about that, is that we're putting together a web page. So if anybody is interested in, who watches the show, would be interested in helping us and work with that, any computer geeks or any people who are interested in working with us on, helping us with like the graphics for a web page. We have a lot of the text in there, but we'd like, anybody who wants to help and participate. Actually, one of our camera people is raising their hand now. So, give a call. We'll mention the number at the end of the show, but we're really excited. A lot of really beautiful things are happening. We have incredible guests tonight. I mean, people whose life experience has just been incredibly powerful and just miraculous in how their life is proceeded and how their lessons have gone, and what they have to share with us musically, spiritually, emotionally, verbally. We have DaVeed, who's a healer and a teacher and an author. Actually, he has studied, I saw some of his resume. He has studied so many healing modalities, I couldn't believe it. And I'm sure he's going to share a lot of them with us, and that's really exciting for us. And we have Ramde, who's involved with a lot of women's issues and issues of empowerment for women, and she's going to sing and play, and we're really excited about that. So it's really going to be a wonderful show, and we have Estancia was just mentioning to me earlier that the guests we have in the future weeks are just extraordinary. So, we hope you're going to sit with us and enjoy it and just settle in with us tonight, because, again, we have an extraordinary show for you. So, as we usually do at this time, Estancia leads us in an invocation and a meditation to set the tone for the show. So, Estancia.
Thank you, Roland. So maybe you can just take a breath with me and breathe in the love and light that you are, and the love and light all around you. And maybe you can just breathe out any tension you might be holding in your body, all the old patterns that can be let go of now, let them go, and be born again in this moment. And in this quiet moment, we call forth to Mother, Father, God, and we ask to be gods and goddesses, children of the One Most High, to know ourselves as a son and as a daughter, and to know that experience of I am union with the I am that I am. We call forth tonight to the archangels, calling Archangel Michael into this room to bring the ray of faith and protection, Archangel Gabriel, the ray of resurrection, into our very beautiful selves, into our wholeness, and all of the archangels. We call forth to the spiritual hierarchy for Earth and to the cosmic hierarchy, asking the masters to set the tone in this room now, asking all of our angels to be present with us, all of our guides to come in now, asking to know the Christ at heart, to move into expansion. We call forth the golden white ascension energies into this room and into your hearts and into your homes. And each time that you see or listen to this tape, know that just by the calling, just by invoking the energies of the higher realms, they come forth anew unto you. And so it is always ever present. We ask to be able to feel our energy bodies, the great pool of light that we sit in above us and below us. And as we co-create heaven on earth, we ask to go beyond bridging heaven on earth, but to bring the light and love of heaven into our physical bodies and into this earth, bringing heaven into Earth. So maybe you can just close your eyes and open your hearts. Send your light down into the core of the earth, into the crystal that lies there, and up through your chakras that we ask the masters to open. And send it up to the great central sun and all the way to God's kingdom, to the thrones. And just breathe in the light. And we ask that the greater flame of our I Am presence take dominion now over the lesser flame in a celestial marriage of soul and personality and the I Am presence coming to union. And then just closing your eyes if you wish, moving into a moment of meditation and silent heart. And so tonight we have another wonderful night in store. We are honoring all the kingdoms tonight, and we are honoring the dolphins in the rivers, in the Amazon rivers tonight, and all the kingdoms, the plant kingdom, the tree kingdoms, angel and man, woman. It's going to be an exciting night. We're going to show you a brief clip of the pink dolphins in the Amazon swimming, and this is kind of a little invitation to our guests that will be with us in just a moment. DaVeed Forrest spent a lot of years in the forest learning a lot of the secrets there, and he's going to bring and share them with us tonight. So here we go.
Roxanne has dedicated her life to saving the pink dolphins from the Earth's universal predator, ourselves.
So welcome, DaVeed, and welcome, Ramde. It's an honor to have you here. We saw just briefly, that was a brief clip, but just briefly I saw the little faces of the dolphins, and they're so beautiful. They're really wonderful. I don't know very much about the river dolphins, but we have had the opportunity to have guests on our show that have been swimming and communicating with the ocean dolphins. And they have a little bit more experience with them, and they're really pink, aren't they?
Depending on the waters that they live in, the pinker they are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all relative to the algae growing in the rivers that create a fluorescence in their skin that makes them more piquant. But it goes from pink to gray. There are several types, but they are definitely a very special type of dolphins that have a capacity to understand their relation to nature like very few other creatures do. And that's what our most enthusiastic inspections of their capacity to communicate with humans and relate to us in other ways that we haven't experienced in interspecies communication up until now.
Right. I sometimes think of them as our older sisters and brothers, and they have a lot to share.
Well, that's very true in the sense that if you look at the brain capacity, these creatures as mammalians have brain capacities which are double the human mind in the brain capacity, which makes it very exciting for us to understand how they can tune in to their environment as they do, like very few other creatures can.
It's really special.
Mhm.
So you have an incredible background, and I thought maybe for just a few minutes we could sort of go over the whole transition from cowboy to lawyer, and then to forest person.
He's changed quite a bit.
Well, I mean, looking at you now, you don't look like a cowboy to me.
Or a lawyer.
Truly, my own personal transformation from being raised here in North America in a very traditional, conservative North American family had indoctrinated me into believing in the typical values of capitalism and the way that we all perceive our rise in social status, to a point where when I was a very young man, I was given opportunities to interact in the systems of capitalism in a way that there wasn't much sensitivity to nature. And at a very early age, I began to understand that there's a whole nother way to relate to the exploitation of nature, that in our rush of the industrial evolution of machines into the modern world, it seemed to me that we had lost our sensitivity to realizing that all of nature is a very interdependent web of life that reacts and responds and relates to the way that each of us as life forms relate to our own environment. And in the course of that, I began to discover that the indigenous peoples of not only North America, but Mexico, Central and South America had retained a very special sensitivity about relating to their natural environment, and the importance of us as humans relating to it with a sense of respect and honorability that in my own upbringing I felt was lacking. And in that sense, it led me to very enthusiastically embrace the deeper nature peoples of Mexico and Central and South America, to the point where I began to understand that the dolphins of the upper Amazon, as far as mammalian creatures go and brain capacities, have a very special place in nature's evolution. And Roxanne Kramer, who is the founder of the project to create a sense of respect for these creatures in the upper Amazon, has proven through her interspecies communication that they have a sensitivity and a curiosity to relating to humans in a way that no other creatures in nature have.
And it's actually very healing as well. The way that they relate to humans on a level that most humans don't relate to each other. So it's very interesting to see that. I mean, I've only seen the clip. I haven't been to the Amazon just yet, but we're planning a trip very soon, and that was one of the things that really touched me, was the way that these mammalians, as DaVeed said, can relate to humans, and they can touch you in a way that most humans don't even touch each other. I mean, they will, don't they just zone in right on your heart chakra? I mean, it's the most healing and amazing thing that I've ever seen.
Well, one of the things that we're very inspired by with these pink dolphins is the fact that when you take people down who have different heart problems or different diseases, they're able to tune in to the different areas of the body where people are having problems, and they come up very gently and touch the person and magnetize them with an electrical energy that the people who've experienced it have been reporting phenomenal healing responses from it.
And we're talking about people that are probably octogenarians. You know, some of the ones that have been there are not, we're not talking about, you know, in their early teens or 20s. We're talking about people that, you know, have lived their lives fully and almost given up to a point. And these mammals have a way of healing where nothing else or no one else could.
Right, it sounds like they almost go right into the energy field and just like pull out.
They do.
You know, kind of like cats and dogs kind of do that.
Yeah, they do.
Kind of balance you
They know
out.
exactly what you need, and there's no pretense about anything. Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the enthusiasms of our organization is to create the space where we can scientifically go down and allow the dolphins the space to teach us what it is they're communicating to us, we who have worked with them truly realize that they have their own languaging system, which is something that all of us have a lot to learn from. And when you swim with them, you understand that they are communicating a language to you through their sonics, that if you take the time to relax into their environment, then you truly see that they have a message to communicate. And in our interspecies communication that Roxanne is heading, we're truly trying to find out how we can understand their languaging. Because if you understand that they have a very highly intelligent message to communicate to us about the implications of destroying the rainforest, with its life forms, with its plant forms, with its microorganisms, then we are beginning to understand that they're helping us really grasp that there's so much to lose by the mentality that would sacrifice the rainforest in a way, rather than understanding the whole interdependent cycle that we have in relation to the rainforest.
I mean, you actually lived for like 10 years with the indigenous people deep in the rainforest. I mean, isn't that part of your process?
When you went in, did you know that you were going to be in there for 10 years?
No. No, my journey...
You probably wouldn't have gone.
Truly. My journey into the rainforest was more of an innocent curiosity to understand that these peoples who live great distances away from roadways,
and newspapers and
newspapers and radio stations,
Showers.
television stations. These are people who live in such intimate contact with nature that, to me personally, I was very enchanted to understand what it is they were perceiving about the voices of nature that a person like myself could never hear. Because when they would listen to the different changes of the insects and birds and the different animals in nature communicating, they had a way of understanding their languages that I could never hear.
But that's what they were teaching you. I mean, in that 10-year period, that's what you were learning.
That's what I was perceiving, that the reality that they understood about the different subtle levels of nature, and the way that not only the animals or the plants, but down to the minerals, they communicate to humanity about the interdependency that we have with them, how to interact and, as we term it here, exploit them for our own needs, because I truly began to understand that the whole civilization of the European cultures into the Americas had everything to do with the exploration for, first off, minerals, gold, silver, the different minerals that were very valuable in Europe, and the curiosity of the Europeans to explore the Americas from that standpoint led them to discover that the indigenous peoples of the Americas had many other understandings of nature that only now the most open-minded scientific peoples are willing to embrace, that there's another level to nature that we are needing to relate to that not many people have been able to relate to.
Right.
You know, when you sent me that Roxanne's tape, and
Lady Roxanne,
and we're going to show a little clip about that, and it was really, we're going to show kind of a shocking clip of what's actually being done to the pink dolphins and how they're not being honored there by some people.
I think you ought to repeat that, because I mean some of the scenes are pretty graphic, so just watch and enjoy.
Poor dolphin. They tell the lady that, how do they get these teeth? I mean, because they have to kill the dolphin? Who's killing the dolphin? Oh, she even has this. That's for you? That's for your esposo?
Since establishing myself in the Amazon, I conduct marketplace spot checks with the forest police to confiscate and to enforce the law. I don't want to happen in Peru what I witnessed in Brazil, in which hundreds of dolphins were killed by commercial fishermen. who cut out the vagina, the eyes, and the teeth of the sotilia and sold for $1.50 each as good luck charms. Within a month, hundreds of dolphins had been killed to feed this shameful traffic to camouflage sexual deficiencies of gullible people. Brains, fetuses, and all organs were exhibited, for who knows what kind of irrational, magical powers of seduction they attribute them to. These foreign rituals made me change my role from fieldwork observer to an active defender. I launched the International Day of the Dolphin in Ecology in Iquitos on the third Sunday of each June. It's a symbolic way to say that this earth cannot indefinitely support the demands that humans impose on it, and focus attention on the fact that every minute, approximately 100 acres of our rainforests are destroyed globally. By the year 2000, more than 1 million species will have become extinct in Amazonia. Millions of people are dying of hunger caused by man-made ecological imbalance called overpopulation without family planning. Symbolically, we burn the animal skins confiscated from poachers by the Forest Police.
All the ashes from the skins that we're going to burn today will be put back into by the children of the jungle back into the water, so the spirits of these animals can go on. Because this is a disgrace that they're dead.
Roxanne, wherever you are, I'd like to just thank you for the work, the incredible, precious work that you are doing, and all the others that are working with you over there and with the dolphins. And now we have DaVeed and Ramde, and they will be doing a sacred invocation using the flute and the drums and possibly some chimes. And DaVeed will probably tell us in words what's going to be happening over there on the other side of the studio. So whenever you're ready.
We would like to share with you a sacred invocation that comes from the indigenous peoples of the rainforest of the upper Amazon, where the last few remaining pink dolphin colonies live and breed. We feel that these creatures are communicating to us in a way that they allow us to share with you all the feelingness of what their message is to the rest of humanity about the importance that each and every one of us take the time now to feel our connectedness to all of nature as we've never felt it. So Ramde and I would like to share with you a short prayer and then a musical prayer of what the dolphins have inspired us to communicate to you both through word and feelingness of our music. The importance that each and every one of us now take the time more than ever to feel our connectedness to the interdependency of nature. For we are the ones who will make the difference for the future generations as they inherit our consciousness in the way that we relate to nature. And with that, we'd like to share with you a very special musical rhythmic invocation. So as we play this, we'd like to ask you to close your eyes and feel into the heart of the dolphins and all of the creatures of the rainforest and the peoples who are asking for our support to awaken to the urgency of the voice of Mother Nature as she begs us to come home, to come play with the beauty. And instead of slaughtering and surrendering the animals' lives, that we begin to understand how to play and begin to celebrate the divinity of life with them.
So close your eyes and wake up.
That was beautiful.
It was really sweet.
I could hear all the little animals. I was picturing, sort of visualizing a little squirrel here, a little bird here. So
Yeah, it really sounded like the forest. You know, it's the forest singing to you.
really. And his invocations are kind of like mine. You just go on, and just all these new, there's so many beings
Right.
to be connecting with, to be loving and asking to be in union with. It's really endless. That was beautiful. I love that. Did I tell you this morning that a little bird came and
You were on the phone with me when
yeah,
the bird came.
a little bird, and it sounds like a woodpecker, but it was just a little brown bird, and it came up to where I was sitting by a window on the phone talking to you, and it went just like a like that, and it was like it just said hello.
Did it come in the house?
No, the window came right to the window and knocked, and I looked up, and I'm looking into the face of this amazing little bird, and it flew away, came back again. Knock, knock, knock. There's nothing on the window. Sometimes they do fly into the house.
Right.
But this was just obviously just saying hello, you know, because it wasn't pecking on.
And you saw when the family of birds built a nest inside their house. My parents were there. And they couldn't take a shower, and they were like, "What was going on?"
I know. I love that.
That was really
And
sweet.
they understood.
I know, really. I mean, there's almost nothing more that opens the heart than the animal kingdom in life.
Thank you both. That was very beautiful. It was really a meditation, and the energy in here has just gone down, like or up, or however you look at it, another octave. When I said down, I was picturing it like in the ocean, like we just went down another octave that way.
The ocean of love.
Yeah.
The tones.
You can see that you really love playing and feeling the forest. You love the forest.
Absolutely.
Now, can we get into some of the little secrets and talk a little bit about the magic of the herbs and some of the things that you learned in the forest, some of the secrets of immortality and the use of the brains for stimulation of the mind? And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, where would you like me to start in that sequence of my own experience of transforming my own consciousness from being a very typical North American type of person who was raised in a very up-and-coming, influential, all-American family to where...
You were part of the Ewing family in Texas, isn't that right?
He was one of the Waltons or something like that.
Grew up in a big ranch in Texas and all the good old boys.
I grew up on a ranch with working a lot of cattle and taking care of a lot of animals in a very traditional way as we've been taught in the industrialized countries, and my own personal journey into a deeper level of sensitivity of not only how to relate to animals, but how to relate to nature began with my own disappointment in the fact that the animals that I had raised as a youngster, mainly cattle from very young ages up to the age of where people considered them edible, I always found it very hard for me personally to realize that I'd raised these animals from a young age.
Just for lunch.
Well, in the beginning, it's much as you raise them as a younger child as pets.
Right.
And you relate to them and you have emotional relationships with them. And when it came time for my family to sell them, to slaughter them to eat, I never could quite understand that. And in the course of my own personal journey of trying to understand that, every time I ate those animals that I had raised and slaughtered to eat, I experienced a type of indigestion in a way that I just couldn't digest the meats that were from the animals that I had personally raised as my pets. And as I began to question that, I realized that animals do have consciousnesses, and they do have a very beautiful super sensitivity to relating to humans, that if we share our feelings of love and empathy with them, they reflect that back to us. Just like if we share our feelings of raising them only as something to eat eventually, they reflect that back to us. And as that consciousness began to dawn upon me personally, I began to realize that I felt the sensitivity to respecting the animal's right for life that I hadn't been able to do when I was younger, and the confusion that caused me in going against the nature of the way that I was conditioned and understood to relate to the animals as something to raise, to sacrifice, to eat, compared to my heartfelt feelings of relating to the animals as friends and not seeing them as something that I had to eat, but more as companions that were teaching me about playing and being with life, led me into a dilemma that, after exploring the different potentialities of interacting in the typical North American world of going to college and getting a degree and participating in a world where very few people have much of a sensitivity to the fact that maybe animals do have a consciousness that isn't equal to ours as human beings, but is definitely as a creature of God, they have a sensitivity to the enjoyment of living that I began to realize I just didn't have the heart to sacrifice them for my own hunger needs. And as I became more sensitive to that, I realized for myself that there were so many other beautiful ways to nourish myself between herbs and fruits and vegetables and flowers, that I really lost my desire to have to shed the blood of an animal to satisfy my hunger needs. And in the course of that realization, I was drawn spontaneously deeper and deeper into the more remote areas of the tropical Americas, where most of the people consume a very minimal amount of animal types of foods and consume a much larger amount of fruits and vegetables and herbs and flowers. And as I experienced the genuine happiness that these people experience in their everyday lives, I definitely knew that their ability to experience that connectedness with nature without having to kill and sacrifice animals was something that I wanted to know much deeper. And I guess that was the seed that led me to go deeper and deeper into the deeper tropical forest of the Americas on into Central and South America, where I was very enthused to experiment for myself what these peoples were communicating to us who come from a different type of world.
So the deeper you seemed to want to go internally, the deeper you went into the rainforest, in a sense, the deeper you went away from what you were used to. And
Absolutely. For my own personal journey, I felt that the relativity for me to consume foods that were sourced from the sacrifice of animals compared to harvesting ripe fruits on trees or ripe herbs or ripe vegetables allowed me to release my own feelings of fear and insecurity in a way that gave me the confidence that I could go deeper and deeper into nature without fearing nature.
Right. It became your ally rather than
Absolutely.
anything to be afraid of.
Can you talk a little bit about your healing in the forest, in that little episode, and then maybe move into some of the other powers of the herbs?
Okay.
You know, for anti-aging.
Well, for me personally, I had left the United States on a very short-term journey to go down into Mexico to experience some of what were being touted as the sacred ruin areas. And in the course of doing that, I had a car accident that left me with a very crippled body. I was injured very badly. My spine was damaged, my legs were damaged, I was crippled. I didn't hope at one time, according to most doctors, to ever have the ability to walk normally again. And in the course of my own exploration of what I felt I could do for myself to balance this condition of not being able to be mobile in my physical body, led me to meeting peoples in Mexico who introduced me to the reality that some of the indigenous peoples further back in the tropical mountains of southern Mexico had methods and ways of healing that most of the Western medical world hasn't even began to explore. And I felt very attracted for myself to go back into the mountains to explore their different techniques of experiencing healings with some of the rainforest herbs that they utilize, as well as some of their different healing ceremonies that are based more than anything on rhythmic expression and rhythmic movement expression. They very much believe in the ability, whether you're crippled or whether you're free-flowing in your physical body, they feel that movement in your body and giving invocation through movement as well as conscious prayer is something that affects a healing response that is very powerful. And my own experience was, as I moved further into the deep mountainous peoples and trained with their healers, I felt that they were able to alleviate my suffering in a way that I had never experienced with the mainstream pharmaceutical type of healing. And this revelation led me to be more and more curious to go deeper and deeper into the mountains, to contact and introduce myself to the peoples who had been connected to the white European-based cultures as little as possible.
So you learned different practices of healing the body with herbs. What about expanding the light body in the spiritual context? Could you talk about
Well, you know, my own experience with the deep nature peoples is that they experientially are living in what I call a hyperdimensional consciousness. They recognize that the physicality of our human bodies are one dimension of who we really are, and they acknowledge that there are more subtle, invisible bodies that exist around the human body in a way that each of us have to realign ourselves with being in harmony with our more invisible light bodies. And they have many different techniques, from very profound breathing techniques to working with synergistic blends of different herbs to realign the physicality into the consciousness with higher frequencies, which I feel is an area of medical research that the Western world has been very slow to acknowledge and to begin more scientific exploration of what these people are really doing and how they are effectuating cures. And one of the main programs that our nonprofit organization has is that we are actively supporting the scientific research to working with the deep forest indigenous healers and understanding how their relation to nature and the invisible healing energies that we can't normally see with our physical eyes is relevant to the healing process. And in the course of doing that, they have many different modalities of healing that by our modern day standards we would consider very metaphysical or esoteric. And I think quantum physical understandings are leading us to know that there are other realities of nature that are helping us to get deeper and deeper in touch with the fact that the bringing in of the higher invisible energies into the physical realm is something that we're just beginning to acknowledge is a very real reality and something we can work with in a very positive way.
So are there actually certain herbs that grow there that upon ingesting activate the light body and illuminate the brain? Is that, or is it the way they're prepared and then the way they're different?
My personal experience is that definitely there are different biochemical reactions in the synergistic blends of the herbs of the rainforest that allow the human brain to be activated in a much greater capacity than we know it now. I think the cutting-edge brain research estimates that we perhaps use maximum 10% of our brain's capacity. And there is a growing interest all over the world in scientists from different parts of the world that acknowledge that the rainforest peoples have a type of herbology that in the way they blend the herbs allows us to psychoactivate our brain mechanism in a way that we've just begun to tap into into the modern understanding of psychotherapy, which for me is a totally exciting field because...
And you're trying to bring that information, be in a sense the bridge from the indigenous people to
absolutely
the Hallies over here.
After living many years with the indigenous peoples, they asked me to be a representative of their understandings back into the more industrialized world where we've lost that sensitivity to nature.
Did you also, and with Roxanne, lead workshops and expeditions into the rainforest?
We have a camp Roxanne has spent many years establishing in the upper Amazon regions of Iquitos, Peru, up 7-8 hours upriver, where we have a very beautiful camp that's a part zoological encampment where we rescue the animals from the rainforest that have been survivors of the slaughter that's happening amongst peoples killing the rainforest animals either for their furs or their pelts or their skins or their whatever part it is that the market of amulets and charms allows. And we have a place where we take people from all over the world down there to literally experience not only the rainforest and how to interact with the animals, but we have a program where we interact with the native peoples of the rainforest who are willing very kindly and generously to share their wisdom of helping people who've never been into the forest to how to relate to it without fear.
Well, it sounds like both of you, and I haven't heard your stories of
We're going to have to come back in a whole hour on Ramde.
Really?
Here.
Oh, well, okay.
All right, but actually, I think what we're going to have now is that they're going to get set up and sing another song and play some more music.
Right.
So that should be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. So
maybe you can go and set up over there for the song because we're finishing up on the hour. And wow, there were so many things I wanted to ask.
I mean, we had a list, I would say, of about 35 things, at least, that we wanted to talk to Ramde and DaVeed about. That just the hour seems to fly by. It happens every week.
Absolutely.
It's
But
unbelievable.
I think people got a real picture of, you know, that there's secrets that are in the forest, you know, that these people have uncovered and that are there, and that if these secrets are going to be shared with us, we can be learning about our immortality in a different way, and dimensionality. People think that it's, you know,
it's unreasonable to think that they exist that way, but I always say to people, I mean, we're hurtling through space on a ball. What's unreasonable? I mean, what is unreasonable considering the nature of the experience for all of us here? So that's just going to be incredible. So I don't know if we're going to get a chance to come back to the set, but if we don't, good night, God bless you, and we're going to go out with Ramde and DaVeed playing. We thank them for coming. We thank you for coming. And also, if there are any questions or comments on the expeditions, the workshops, anything we've talked about tonight, any computer nerds who want to work with us, anybody who wants to work with us on anything that could help us spread this message. You know, we're on in different cities now. We found out we're in Washington and Philadelphia and New York, all over. So we're really excited. So if anybody wants to reach us, it's 805-687-2053. We appreciate you coming, and we want to turn it over to DaVeed and Ramde. So whenever you guys are ready.
I got the inspiration to write this song. It's the lyrics are my own special thing, but it was to Amazing Grace, and I got it. It just came to me from the angels, so I hope you like it. Brothers, sisters, all join hands. Feel the urgency. Our Mother Earth is crying out. She needs us, hear her plea. The beauty of the old oak tree has knowledge more to share. Let's take the time to listen close. He knows his heart's been there. The stream that flows, the grass so green, we're given all we need. The sun with arms of loving light for one divinity. The land that spreads beyond the sky for creatures great and small has held us in her loving light. Now it's we who must stand tall. A difference we shall make this day. The story will be told of riches pure and sacred here. A one